Hi, we're getting together today for a podcast. I feel that in our society today, the Western society, the elders are kind of pushed aside sometimes, and their wisdom is not so heard, as opposite to many different cultures in other places of the world, that the elders were actually the wise people, the sages of the clan, of the tribe. They were very respected, and people would come to them for counsel. Sometimes they would be the ones who are actually leading. And I would like to take an opportunity to talk today to someone who is elder and sage, and I'm going to introduce him. My name is Yael, and this is Paul Rejzner. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Mrs. Yael.
How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. No news, good news.
Yes, about something
At your
like
age.
that. I'm at my age, yeah.
So would you like to share with us, first of all, how old are you?
I'm 92.
And
which
what
is,
does it mean? What
quite
year
a
were you
heavy-
born?
It's quite a heavy time.
Quite a heavy load.
Yeah.
What year were you born in?
Beg your pardon?
What year?
I was born in 1933,
So that's even before World War II.
before World War II, yes.
So I want to say that Paul is a Holocaust survivor as well. How old were you when the war started?
Oh, when the war started, I was 7 years old.
7. And where were you born?
I was born in Belgium
And you,
from a Jewish family. And my parents were working people, but independent people. They always worked for themselves, and they were producing and selling whatever they produce. And nearly everybody in the family was like that. Nobody was employed by the states or living on subsidies or anything like that.
and you yourself was also an independent in your life.
Yes,
You had a business.
yes, I took the same business when I got older, and I went up to this business until 1984.
So today, when I ask you to do this podcast, so I let you choose the subjects that you want to talk about. So we can talk about the finance insight that you have, because you've told me off camera that you actually earned more money this year than your investing banker. And I think today a lot of people want to know what to do with their money. And maybe not everybody is really aware of everything that's going on in the world. And people are more just led by where it's common to invest. And I would like to hear your insight about it. And okay, let's hear it. Let's hear you talk.
Well, you asked me to talk about finance. I will say that I'm not very comfortable about talking about finance, because finance is a very dangerous game. It's not something very easy. You can win and you can lose. And the problem is to win more than you lose. But you've got to be ready to lose and come back. Because if you are not in that mentality, I don't advise you to invest in the shares or anything of the market. But basically, I would like to go much backward. I was not a very good student, so my father put me in a commercial school. There I start to understand and to learn the basics that I needed afterwards, when I became to be adult and independent. Economy is not a very difficult thing to understand. You don't have to be graduate from a very high school to understand it. The principle is like that. You earn $100, you spend 90, and you keep 10. And with those 10, you try to do better and you invest. But if you start to spending 120 when you earn 100, you will be like every state around us, you will be bankrupt. Only states can afford that because they never paid their debt. But people cannot do that. So the first thing is to save some money and to invest that money. And how to invest that money is very different. First, when I started, things were very different than now. Today, states don't behave normally. Some states have privilege. They didn't exist in my youth. They can decide that they block your money, they take your money, they play with you.
Like
and
which states?
You're always a victim.
Which states?
I don't want to give any name here. Quite a few states. And the same thing are with banking. Banking used to be very honest traditionally, but today there is some reflection about that.
You mean about things that are not legal that banks are doing?
There was a time where decency in fair finance was the word. For instance, I worked in a profession and we never said anything. Everything goes on a shake hand and on a word, and you could do your business like that and sleep at night. Today, if I shake hand with somebody, I start counting my fingers. Things are very different today. It's not the same world anymore. So for the young ones today, it's a lot more difficult. The second thing is that now you've got internet. And this internet, which brought us quite a few good things, brought us also a lot of bad things. First, the movements are more quick and more strong, and from one day to the other, what was white can become black, and vice versa. So everything is more difficult today. Another thing, it's much easier to do business today because of the internet. But today, the states has taken control of the fortune of the people. It never happened in the history of mankind. Today, you are completely submitted to the control of the state. And the state has only one interest, is to take as much as you product of what you produce as they can. They never produce anything. We do the job, and they live on it. And they spend it not very carefully. So it's much more difficult. You've got to know how to introduce, how to build your business, how to transform. And this is before you start investing. You've got to understand how all those things work. If you're not, it's a hard job. You will make lots of mistakes, but you will learn from your mistake. You have to learn from your
mistakes is part of the way of growth.
Yes, but it's become a lot more volatile lately.
So what would you advise?
Go slowly in the beginning, diversify. Never think that you're going to make a hit and you're going to earn your fortune on a very smart thing. It's much easier to earn 2% every month than to earn 20% a year. You don't earn very quickly 20%. It happens. They are exceptional year, but you grow slowly, slowly. To give you an example, to get my first $50,000 took me nearly 10 years to hard work, because I was working in a factory, and at that time we were paid about $1 an hour. So you can imagine, not even $1 an hour, a lot less than that. So start saving young. When you start young, you might get something when you'll be in the 50s.
You said you talked about to diverse your capital.
This is investing.
Yes.
Investing, I advise. On this world, you've got to diverse your capital. If you've got small capital, invest them in something that is diversified, not on one company, but on a fund, a group of fund that has 100 companies, something like the Nasdaq or something like that.
S&P,
because not everybody is going to go broke in the same time. And on top of that, those big things, if 5, 10, 20, 30 go broke, there's still going to be another 50 that will survive. And with time, they will come back. And the thing also, if you don't invest everything in one fund. Diversify your money in many funds. I'll give you an example. Personally, I never put more than 3% of my, how should I put it? Capital in one thing. I prefer to invest in 100 different things at 3%, and so I'm not making the biggest amount of money. I'm one of the less loser in the business.
So would you tell people who are younger than you today that they should invest in real estate, for example?
Real estate is another problem. Real estate is something that you can invest if you don't want to invest in it for more than 20 years. Because you may buy in a good area, and after 10 years or 15 years, this area goes down. And if you didn't liquidate at time your real estate, the value of the real estate goes down and you can lose everything. Then when you calculate all the expenses on real estate and everything, on the long run, the income is sure, but it's not so big as people can think. There are countries, Israel is one of those countries, where real estate is always booming. But it's not like that everywhere. And on top of that, if you invest in real estate, you've got problem with the tenants. And the tenants today are not like the tenants 30 years ago. And it's a choice. It depends how much money you make. But to invest in real estate and to invest in currency or everything, it's a choice. So the thing is, you've got to be ready to work a lot, put your mind in it, spend a lot less that you earn, if possible, and find a way to invest without falling in the hand, and I must say it, of the states, which is built to take everything you produce. If you let them take over and control everything you make, it's going to be very, very hard to grow up. Because if you can't, you pay roughly 50% of what you earn, you give to the states, and 20% of what you spend, you give also to the states. And so you are left with 30%. And 30%, if you are an average person, you need it to live. And you can't progress. But there is, in the system, there is official and legal system of not to fall as a total, how should I put it? not to submit yourself completely to the administration.
To find a little...
Yeah, there are legal ways of getting out of this problem.
So there's a lot of homework to do.
And do your homework and find out. Because if you go in, the worst thing is to go in the bank and to ask them what to do. They work for themselves. They don't work for you. Never.
Okay. I would like to take you to another subject that has to do with the finance, but it's like more global. I would like to have your insight on what's happening in the world right now with America and Trump and all the financial things that he did there, and what's going on with Europe and Russia and China. Like, where do you see the world is going?
We are living now in a moment where everything can change in the next 3 to 5 years, in my opinion. First, America is losing her grip on the market, which they had up to today.
Meaning you mean that everybody was trading in dollars?
In dollars. They were controlling 90% of the market. Today, they might control still 60% of the market, and I think that they're going to control less. The other thing is that the dollar used to be guaranteed by gold a long time ago, and they cut it off. And the Americans are printing dollar like you printing, and I'm going to be very, very rude, like they print sheet papers. They print it, and it's like a post stamp. It gets absolutely no value, in fact, because there are hundreds of billions of dollars in debt. And then there is a tremendous amount of dollar running in the world that people have, and they're getting rid of it now. More or less, that's what China is doing. China is buying gold because they want to get out of the dollar system with a few friends of them. It's called in technology the BRICS. And it's going to be more and more. That's why Trump, which is a businessman, is trying to bring back industries and everything in America and getting all on depending on only on the dollar to survive, which they did for many years. So things are going to change.
So you're saying that China is selling their dollars and buying gold.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you, how are they trading then, if not in dollars?
It's because, like I said, they're trading on product. They're producing for the whole world cars, material, machine, clothes, food, wine, anything. They're producing things that has value, and they are selling it. So they're getting money for it. And the money that today, they don't want to keep. For years, they kept it in a dollar. Today, China and America, they are on a conflict. So they don't want to keep the dollar. Why should they keep the dollar and reinforce the United States? They don't want the dollar. They keep it in gold. Gold is a thing that for millions of years has a value.
This is why the gold went so much up
That's why
lately.
gold went up lately.
Because China is buying gold.
That's it. And Trump now is trying to bring back in America an economy of production. They want to produce. They don't even sell their cars anymore outside of the States. Nobody buys them anymore.
This is why he dropped the dollar now, so that he can be more on the market.
And because he dropped the dollar, the Chinese says we don't want to keep the dollar because it's going to drop again. That's what I think.
So there's a big product concurrence.
It's my perspective.
Yes,
Am I right?
I want to hear
right?
it.
I don't know.
And where is Europe in all this picture?
Oh, Europe is another problem. Europe now is in a confrontation morally
With Russia?
With Russia, and hotly they're helping Ukraine and thing. So now they have something that is going to bring a new, fresh air. They are building armament, but armament in the end is a waste, because you don't eat armament, you don't put clothes on armament, but it will make the machine turn around for another few years.
The industry.
They're getting in debt. Some of them are getting in debt. So it's going to be a boom for a few years until the armament is going to replace what they lost. Practically the whole European industry is gone, except for a very few states who managed still to have kept it.
And you think there's going to be a war between Russia and Europe?
I don't know. Everything is possible. I don't know.
I mean, they're buying armament.
They know they are creating new armament, new technology.
Producing.
And this is going to give them a breath of air,
a boost,
air, a push to go on, because they are completely done. They don't produce anything, the technology, nothing. All those countries in the Far East start producing themselves. They don't need Europe anymore. You can see it with Turkey, with all those countries. They're getting more and more industrialized.
So the dollar is not a stable...
For the time being, no. I don't think so. And also, if I would give an advice, try to find, once you get into some money, divide it in different currency, because you never know what's going to go up and what's going to down. For years, I used to divide between Europe and the States. If the States was going down, Europe was going up, and vice versa. So I always managed to balance. I didn't earn money, but I balanced.
But now you say the euro is kind of, I mean, you say for a few years the industry now is going to bring them up, and then it's downhill.
The euro is more or less stable because now they are putting all their money in armament industries. That's the thing they're doing. So they save themselves. And on top of that, Europe has a problem, is immigration. Europe is crawling under immigration. I read that France last year had roughly 500,000 immigrants coming in. They don't have jobs for them.
They have to support them, social security.
And they are supporting them in a way that is absolutely absurd. And they don't find out. They've got a lot of social problem, economic problem, and they are confronted because most of the people come from an Islamic country, and Islam doesn't assimilate. Islam, when they come to a country, they want the country to assimilate to Islam. They don't want Islam to assimilate to the country. So they're going to have a conflict of generation. And some countries are nearly lost. Belgium is practically lost.
But still, the economy of Europe and the euro is still stable today. The euro is a currency that has kept its stability.
They've got quite a bit of inflation. The salaries of the medium class, which used to make the wealth of a country, is going down, is nearly disappearing. So now you have the people very rich and the employed. So you've got the middle class is gone, absolutely. Now you're going to fall down also with the new system, the artificial intelligence. A lot of jobs are going to disappear. What they're going to do with all those people, I think unemployment in Europe is going to grow. And economically, physically, Europe is going to start to rot from the foot.
So you're not very optimistic for the future of Europe?
That's why I came to Israel.
What about Asia? What about that
Asia
side, the east?
Asia is India, and they come from the bottom. From the bottom, you can only go up.
Up.
But from the top, to maintain yourself on the top, that's very difficult.
So I want to ask you, as we're going to close, another question about two new currencies. Okay, one of them is this currency that the East was trying to produce to try to trade between them. And the other one is the Bitcoin, who is going to get legal for transaction and business.
Well,
what do you think about those two?
Well, the Bitcoin is a way to not depend on the state. The state is printing money. Bitcoin is not printing money. They printed Bitcoins for a while because as it grows, they needed more money. But they don't print it like a state. Every state needs money. They're printing billions and billions of their currency. The Bitcoin is very limited. And if more and more people want Bitcoin, that's why the Bitcoins went from less than $1 to $100,000 for one Bitcoin. So the same Bitcoins went from $1 to $100,000 in value. The third thing is liberate the people from the banks. So the banks used to struggle, they've got to adapt themselves, they've got to change. And the second thing now, everybody thought it's going to collapse, it's not going to grow. It's a very fluctuation in the Bitcoin is tremendous because it depends when you buy, when you sell. But in the end, they always come back and go above what they used to be. And I think people who don't trust the states, everybody is going to try to, a lot of money, people are going to try to put some money, not in Europe, not in the dollar, but in the Bitcoin, because that is going to be one of the first. It's for people who are in this trade, in business, it's easy. It goes quickly, you change, you come, you buy, you don't have all the
exchange rates.
Exchange rates and all those things. It's a Bitcoin. You buy a Bitcoin, you receive a Bitcoin. You're not wondering if it's going to go up or down. On the long run, it's going up. If you look at the Bitcoin on the last 15 years, let's say, I don't know exactly when it started, but it goes up and down, but it always goes up more than it went down.
But now it's going to become an official currency?
And America is, the banks in America are starting to deal in Bitcoin. It's much easier today to deal in Bitcoin than it was. You had to go to a shop and things like that. Now you go to the bank, you can buy Bitcoins. You can invest in the Bitcoin is so high that not everybody can buy $100,000 for one Bitcoin. They divide it by 100. So you buy
get a piece of Bitcoin.
You're buying 100 of a Bitcoin. So okay, it costs you $1,000, and even less. You can buy less.
So you're very positive about the future in this currency, in the Bitcoin?
You have to have very strong nerve because it's going up and down and up and down. I was not very successful in trading in Bitcoin. In the beginning, I was making money. And when I saw it was going down, I sold it. In the end, I lost money and I didn't buy it back. And now
Which was a mistake.
3 times, a big mistake. Now it's 5 times the value.
Okay, and what about that currency of the East? Of the East, the new currency?
Something else. Some people, what we call the BRIC, it's China, Russia, India,
Indonesia,
Singapore,
Malaysia.
Indonesia, and Brazil. And so it's all the poor country in the beginning. But today they represent quite a bit of the market. And they decided they're going to deal between themselves in one money, in one currency. What is going to be, what Europe tried to do one time. Europe built the EQ, The EQ was an average between all the European money, and it stabilized more or less the exchange rate. They don't depend on and they're going to grow with that. And it's the Pacific, it's where the big population is. So the future of that, if they manage to do it, for the time Russia went to war, so they are in a bad state, and they've got lots of difficulty to prepare for that. But this is also one of the reasons that China is buying gold, because the gold is going to be a big part of the new currency that they're going to build.
So, on the closure, thank you for your insight. It's very interesting. On the closure, I would like to, ask you. I won't remind it to you in a few years, but in that new Cold War, which is between, America, the Occident, and China, Russia, and Iran, who do you see in the end?
Well, for once, there is one country that has a businessman at the head. It's America. I think it is going to put America back. Because when you look at every country and the people who run the country, none of the people who are running those countries ever earn a penny by himself. He's always an employee, and he's paid for his job. They don't understand anything in business. They think they do, but they don't, and they've never been able to build a company on it. Very few people could do that. Trump is a guy, he knows how to make a dollar, he knows how to keep a dollar, and he understands what you have to do to produce a dollar, which is much more than most of the people.
But China is also very strong in economy. They're amazing business people there. They've been...
Right. The strength of China is that they have got a manpower, tremendous manpower, and relatively cheap. But since they improve themselves, the cost in China is higher. So they move to India. A lot of companies move to India. They're always looking for... But with the new tax that Trump put, the big company, they went back to
produce in America.
To produce in America, yeah.
So on the long run, you believe in Trump?
Economically, yes. He's not the guy I would like to go out with. This is something else. But or to have for a close friends, I don't know if I would go with him.
But as a business manager?
As business, I would be very careful when doing business with him. It's a guy, at least you've got a guy that understands what's going on. I've seen my country of origin going down and down and down.
Belgium.
Belgium was one of the 5th greatest industrialized country when this industrialization started. And now they've completely destroyed this country, and on top of it, they've got such an inflation from Africa and from Arabian country that everything is done in Belgium. Yeah, it's a dead country. It's painful because it was a beautiful country. I loved it very much.
Well, it's a good thing you moved out of there, maybe.
For us, it's a good thing. I'm a Jew, so I have nothing anymore for me there.
So thank you, Paul. Wishing you a long and good life.
Thank you.
And we'll meet again.